The win. It was in the spring of 1982 they made an appearance in the FA Cup final versus Tottenham. They didn't lose the first time round, and of course back in the spring of 1986 they're making a return to Wembley this Sunday in the Milk Cup final once again. And this afternoon on the programme, the captain and the central defender of Queen's Park Rangers Football Club, Terry Fenwick and Steve Wicks, are joining us after 4.
If you want the action, if you want the goal, come on and see the super push down the top of the road. Rangers, we are Rangers. Rangers, we are Rangers. With the famous Q.P.R that no one can compare. When they attack, they don't look back, teams are full of flair. They always entertain you, always play to win. Look out everybody, here they come again. Rangers, we are Rangers. Rangers, we are Rangers. Come on, you heat.
Come on, you super hoops. That's the cry that a whole lot of people from West London will be yelling up there at Wembley come Sunday afternoon when Queen's Park Rangers face Oxford United in the Milk Cup final. And I'm pleased to say that I have two of Queen's Park Rangers with us in the studio this afternoon. The captain, Terry Fenwick.
Hi, Susie.
Good afternoon, Terry. And I call him the central defender, Steve Wicks.
Hi, Susie.
Now, is that a right description to call you?
Yes, I think so. I think you're really up to date there. Yes, definitely.
I mentioned that because in the Q.P.R team over the past few weeks there has been a terrific movement of positions and players. Do you think that Jim Smith has finally got it right for Sunday, Steve?
I think so. I think he's got his team that he wants. I think he knows deep down who's going to play.
How much you, Terry, are the captain of the team? How much has Jim consulted you over this run up to the Cup?
Not very much, to be quite honest. He's kept things in the dark. He's going to bring a few surprises, I'm sure, on Sunday. Playing Steve left wing is going to be one of them. I think, that could be quite interesting.
But there have been changes in the team over the past however months that I've been watching this latest team of Jim Smith. What effect has this had on the players, the fact that they have had to change positions so much? For example, we've been seeing Wayne Faraday playing fullback.
Well, I think obviously we've had injuries and things like that, and it hasn't helped us a great deal. I think the past 4 or 5 games where we've had more or less a settled side, we've produced a lot of good football and had good results.
Of course, the thing is now that everybody's injuries are suddenly all over and they're better, and everybody's raring to go and wants to get into that final squad to go there. There are going to be some disappointments on Sunday, aren't there?
There will be, but Jim's done a great job. He's kept us all together. He hasn't left anyone out, really. The squad players have been there with us and enjoyed every moment of it.
Now you are the one player who has appeared in a cup final for Queen's Park Rangers, being at Wembley in 1982, going away not losing on the first appearance, let's say that, although eventually Q.P.R losing to Tottenham. Have you been able to sort of pass on words of wisdom, warning, advice to the players who will be making their first appearance at Wembley?
Well, Susie, I think at this stage it's best to keep everything away from the lads. It's much easier just to go and have a giggle and keep Wembley off their mind, And I'm sure sort of Friday and Saturday that'll be the time to sort of cheer them up a bit.
Now, what about you, Steve? You were with Q.P.R in 1982.
Yes.
You went to Wembley, but you went home again. What's that story?
Well, I couldn't stand it. It was to be part of something you dream about and to see it happen in front of you and not be part of it, sort of thing. It was a nightmare. I was cup tied when the lads got to Wembley last time, and it was horrible, to be honest. And of course, there's a replay, so I had to sit through it twice. Yeah, it was a nightmare. So it's very nice, personally to to be, really involved with the lads and hopefully be picked and playing on Sunday.
Okay, then we'll talk about the run-up to the Cup final after this. One of the tracks chosen by, I'll hasten to add, Steve Wicks and not Terry Fenwick, Maze Reaching Down Inside.
When you're all alone, reaching down inside for more. When your love is gone, reaching.
Maze Reaching Down Inside, one of Steve Wicks' favourite tracks. Do you get time to listen to a lot of music, Steve?
Yes. On the coach to away games, all the tapes go on, and we've all got different tastes. But yes, we do. We get quite a lot of time.
You become the DJ, do you?
Now that John Gregory's gone, yes, I've got more of a say in it.
You two, obviously, are old friends. And Steve and Terry have been into the team together quite a long time too. How important is it for this has to be put this very carefully, the older members of the squad to kind of look after the young ones? Or is it the young ones who have no fear and kind of boost up the old ones? How does it work?
Well, I think Steve's putting up with it very well. He's coaching us youngsters along.
Well, it's a Philistine I take every morning that helps. No, I think obviously, as friends already said, really, it's best to start helping them out probably Saturday and actually on the day. I think there are a few of our players who need a little bit of help, when they from the older players, little pats of reassurance.
On the other hand, in 1982, Gary Waddock was one of the youngest members in the Q.P.R squad, and he was the one guy who didn't seem to have any nerves at all. Is it the fact that they go there, youngsters, and they haven't done it before, and they haven't seen it before, and they don't really know what's going on, and can go in and go crazy?
I think so. Yeah. That final actually. I mean, the build-up was fabulous. We were cracking jokes all week long, the final itself never got to us until we were actually at Wembley.
Now, that's the build-up to the FA Cup final. This has been a build-up to the Milk Cup final. And for a lot of people, when I sort of said, hey, my team, and Queen's Park Rangers is the team that I've supported for a number of years now, are in the Cup final at Wembley, they say, but the Milk Cup final is not a proper final. How do you, soccer players, regard the Milk Cup?
Well, firstly, Susie, I don't think you should say it to all the fans at Anfield that night. They were well sick that their team wasn't in the final, and against Stamford Bridge, they were sick as well. It's a big cup. It really is. Now we're out of Europe. I think it's become the two cups are the two main aims, aren't they?
The FA Cup and the Milk Cup.
And the Milk Cup of everybody.
Talking of this build-up, Terry, when you saw Q.P.R's draw and what they'd got to go through, did you actually, at that time, way back in whenever it was, the autumn of 1985, consider that Q.P.R had got a chance for the final?
Yeah, I think you always dream of getting to Wembley, don't you? And obviously drawing Liverpool in the semi-final, that was a bit of a blow. But then you've got to beat everybody, haven't you, to win the cup? So we've gone on, done quite well,
And I presume that you've approached each game as each game comes along and not looking ahead to think, well, if we beat them, we're going to get them, and then we're going to get them.
Well, we've got to look out that way because, obviously Oxford are not a Liverpool, they're not a Manchester United, Chelsea, not Forest. We've got to, then we're going to be ever such a hard game, with them on Sunday. So we've got to get stuck in and upset them.
An interesting fact, though, that Jim Smith, your manager, of course, was the guy who has got Oxford into the First Division, and obviously will know an awful lot about that team, yet he is very good friends with the Oxford manager, Mr. Evans. I mean, how much inside information is going on between those two, do you think? Or do you think that they'll probably know too much and everybody will come up with totally different tactics?
Well, I hope the boss has not given anything away about us.
No, but what about Evans? I mean, do you think that he's going to play it as Jim would have played it because he's actually worked with him in the past?
I think they're both very similar people. They both look to play attacking football, and they'll push us that way on Sunday. There'll not be anything held back at all. We'll be out there to score goals, and that's all.
Is that this is something, of course, as a criticism almost of Q.P.R. over the last season, is that the goals haven't necessarily come from the forwards, from the strikers, but the goals have been scored by the midfield and even the defenders too. Do you think those strikers are in form and ready to have a go at it this time round?
Certainly, Gary Bannister's had a bad time for a little while, but he's just coming out of our field and he's scoring goals now. Hopefully he'll do it Sunday.
Well, you said that he's had a bad time. He scored 17 goals. That's not a bad time. That's not all that bad a time. 17 goals he scored.
How many goals have you scored?
One, but I've made a few. That's not good.
And you, Terry, almost. Are you in double figures yet?
7 I've got, I think.
So you could be in double figures. Could be double figures by the weekend.
I hope so, yeah.
Talking to Terry Fenwick and Steve Wicks, two of the players will be appearing in the Milk Cup final at Wembley this weekend. They're, of course, on Queen's Park Rangers squad.
Holding back me, thinking of the fear I've had so long. When somebody listen to me, I'll keep holding on, holding that's all I have to say. It's all I have to say.
Simply Red, a track chosen by none other than the DJ on the coach, Steve Wicks. Terry, I think you quite enjoyed that one too, didn't you?
Yes, it was very good.
Yeah.
Not bad for Steve.
Terry, you not only preparing yourself up this moment in time for the final on Sunday, but also, of course, a member of the England squad. Have there been times during the course of the season when you felt like there should have been two Terry Fenwicks, one at Loftus Road and the other one off with Bobby Robson?
Well, I was fortunate, unfortunate for Rangers really, at the Chelsea Cup tag of replay I was suspended. And in fact I was able to play for England in Egypt.
You've had this little problem with them not being able to play, and there's little problems cropping up once again.
That's right, I'm up again on Friday just to see what happens there.
In fact, he's qualified for Europe, Susie, this season with the points he's got. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You are, though, an undoubtedly a fully qualified member of the England World Cup squad. What about this chap sitting next door to you? I mean, every time I come away from Queen's Park Rangers, there are people there saying, Wixie should be in that squad. He should be really a member of the England squad. I mean, can't you use any influence at all to get him a
Well,
place?
I'm trying to. He's had a tremendous season, and the past 2 or 3 seasons I think he's been unfortunate not to get into the squad. Certainly I've enjoyed playing alongside him.
You both today wearing sweaters beautifully embroidered by Q.P.R. sponsors, and we'll give them a mention, Guinness, who have had a tough time over the last few seasons with football because, of course, alcohol being banned at the grounds. You, I know, have been the Guinness man of the match on at least, is it 9 or 10 occasions?
9, I think, Susie.
Yeah, so are you going to make it the double before the end of the year?
Hopefully, yes.
And they're going to hand you over the brewery and...
Yeah, very nice, yes. Yes. No, actually there is a great atmosphere after the games in their lounge, and it all adds to after games.
I was hanging around the changing rooms. No, not really, but I was sort of waiting to see the guys on Saturday just to check that everything was okay. And there were people who hadn't visited, or guys, some guys there with their kids who hadn't been to a football match for simply ages, simply because of the problems that are said to happen at football matches today. And they were saying, what a great atmosphere at Rangers. How well Rangers seem to look after their supporters and the people who went along to the matches. Do you feel it's important that more and more should be done on the part of the football clubs to encourage families, people who are somewhat wary nowadays to come along?
Well, I think it's very difficult, you see, Susie. It's Q.P.R. and it's a fabulous club. We're not massively supported, but we've got a lovely sort of family crowd that follows us, and it's easy for us. Whereas Chelsea have got a big crowd, Manchester United, it's very difficult for them to sort out that minority that causes trouble.
But in the meantime, if people don't want to go to the Province at Chelsea, they know where they can go to in West London.
And come to the bush anytime.
Just looking back, casting your minds back to the years 1967. I mean, what were you two guys doing in the year 1967 when Q.P.R. last won that Milk Cup?
Well, before he says it, I was 25, celebrating my 25th birthday. I thought, yeah, just to get I think, am I right in saying that West Brom went 2 goals up in that final? Because I wasn't that old then.
No, I wasn't that old then.
Yes.
I mean, I don't even remember it.
No,
I didn't even know
they went two goals up, and I think that's the last I heard the score. And then when I sort of heard the full time, I was amazed that Q.P.R. actually won 3-2.
But you were interested in soccer at that time?
Oh, yes, I was
mad about
football from the age of 4 or 5, I suppose, really into it.
What about you, Terry? Because you're obviously not down here in the London area, certainly from that voice of yours.
Right, yeah.
So were you interested in soccer at that age and tuned in?
Yes, I was playing away in the school teams, and Q.P.R. really was I was thought in my mind at that stage, but I've heard a lot about it this week, and hopefully we can win Sunday too.
Okay then, well, my every good wish to you and to the team, and not only from me, but we've had a call from Kelly Jones in Enfield Lock to say good luck on Sunday to all the Queen's Park Rangers players, and no doubt on Monday morning you'll hear more about it, and even more on Monday afternoon. But for now, this is Susie Barnes saying thank you to Terry and Steve for coming in, and thank you to you two for tuning in this afternoon. Coming up after the news and travel at 4:30, Nigel Cassidy, special guest this afternoon, Christopher Biggins. Then 7 o'clock tonight, Blackburn on the Nose, and Tony Blackburn is back at 8 o'clock this evening, presenting at 10 o'clock, Sherelle and Alexander O'Neill in concert. So those are programmes tonight here on BBC Radio London. Hope you're going to stay tuned and enjoy it all. I'm going to leave you with this, a little footballing tune from the England World Cup squad. See you tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. Bye.
We got the whole world at our feet. There's not a single team that we can beat. We'll all be dancing in the street, 'cause we got the whole world at our feet. We're on our way to play in Mexico. The stage is set, it's football playing is strong. We're gonna beat the world, so here we go, and sing our battle for this time we know we're gonna make it proud, and to the tears of trouble shout it loud. England forevermore, together not even more. We got the whole world at our feet. There's not a single team that we can beat. We'll all be dancing in the street, 'cause we've got the whole world at our feet. We've had a dream since 1982, all the way and never dreams come true. We'll see us there in our white and blue, and hear our battle cry for England. And in the answer when the action comes, we're gonna burn and give it all we've got. England forevermore, together not even more. We got the whole world at our feet. There's not a single thing that we can see. We'll all be dancing in the street, 'cause we got the whole world at our feet. England forevermore, together lions roar. We got the whole world at our feet. There's not a single thing that we can see. We'll all be dancing in the street, 'cause we got the whole world at our feet. There's not a single thing that we can see. We'll all be dancing in the street, 'cause we got the whole world.
This is Radio London, 1458 kilohertz, and in stereo on 94.9 FM.